Okay. Welcome again. This is Rotary E-Club of District 7710. This is July 24th, 2018. We thank you for joining, and we're excited about our speaker, Kamal Bell. Kamal Bell is a teacher, father, husband, and farmer. His interest in farming was cultivated early on in his life as he was maintaining a passion for the outdoors and animals. While working on his bachelor's degree, he was fortunate enough to be given various management opportunities at North Carolina A&T. Upon graduation and the birth of his first son, he was able to enroll and complete his Master's of Science program, obtaining his degree in agriculture education. When he began teaching agriculture at Lowe's Grove Middle School, he started a garden and noticed that a particular demographic gravitated towards the garden. Students who are on at-risk possibility spectrum would use the incentive of working in the garden to improve their behavior and obtain higher grades. During that time, Kamal applied to the U.S. Department of Agriculture Farm Service Agency Beginners Farm Program. This is where he was actually denied, but later the decision was overturned due to an appeal. Since the farm has existed, he has run a youth education program. Sankofa Farms aims to educate the possibility Black males to be able to solve the issues of food insecurity. Obtaining resources as a Black farmer has been very difficult, but with the help of these young men and various community partners, Sankofa Farms has made great strides. The mission of Sankofa Farms is to provide healthy food alternatives to food deserts, and particularly African American populations. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Kamal, and I will share your slides here. Kamal?
All right, how's everyone? I hope everyone's doing well.
Yes,
right.
you are.
Thank you. I want to thank you for having me on the call. It means a lot. I've been looking forward to it ever since me and Ms. Rhonda have been talking about it. Man, I've been pretty excited. And we have the PowerPoint up, and we're just gonna go through briefly the structure of Sankofa Farms and what our mission is currently. So you can go on to the agenda.
Oh, sorry. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see
showing
it.
You see the title page, that's it.
I actually went to the next page, but...
You want to click Enable Editing, and then it should...
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're just going to go through the problem, the mission, the solutions that we've come across, and the funding opportunities that we have had and are currently seeking.
Sorry about that.
So Sankofa Farms is a multifaceted agricultural entity. And the reason I say that is because right now we started out actually producing dehydrated chips. And from dehydrated chips, we've evolved this business into actually acquiring a farm. So the farm offers farm fresh eggs from any fowls currently and layer hens. We are getting ready to reincorporate quail. We're selling jalapeno and banana peppers at the moment. And we're going to have some squash and okra that comes in later in the season. We got to a late start. And we also have an agricultural academy. The academy right now meets during the twice right now during the week because I have to take jobs. I'm a school teacher, and I have to take jobs during the summer to still live and pay my bills. So right now we're meeting twice a week, but once the summer job ends, we'll go back to meeting 4 times a week with the students. And there's a classroom portion and also a farm portion to the program. We're hoping that what we can do is we can take these youth, and I know that all of them aren't going to become farmers. I understood that very quickly, but it's really about the ones who want to go into agribusiness, developing the framework so that they can go in and help solve these issues. A lot of the issues that we've seen, I feel like the kids will be they're the first step in solving a lot of the food insecurity issues that we see in Durham and Orange County that really affect minorities. So we can go on to the next slide. The problem that we've come across is the miseducation of food diets. That's the biggest thing that we've seen. But also there's a component to this. I'm on the computer, Khalil. I'm on the computer. Hold on, Khalil. Go back out.
I'm going to pee.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry. Close the door. What I've seen is that economic component has to be integrated when you're introducing agriculture back to people. So if I just go into a neighborhood and say, hey, you should eat healthy, the people are going to be like, okay, what else? I have a lot of other issues going on in my life. What is the driver behind me eating healthy? And then we had to explain to them the savings that you could incur because the majority of our paychecks are going toward buying food. So once that is understood, people are more open to saying, okay, I'll try eating, I'll try these healthy foods. Another issue that we've seen is the access to healthy food. So a lot of the students, we have 8 students right now. 2 of them are from like an upper middle class neighborhood. So they don't, this issue is prominent, but it doesn't affect them as much as the other students. But there aren't healthy food outlets in the other neighborhoods. So when we're leaving the farm and we're talking about all these different concepts, they go home back into an environment and they're like, all right, well, I know A, B, and C isn't healthy for me, but what options do I have to eat? There's nothing but churches and Bojangles and all these unhealthy outlets around me. So they kind of fall back into a normal behavior. What I've started to do is I've started to send food home with them for them to try out at home. A lot of people say, oh, the people don't know how to cook the food. The food can be prepared. It's just more so about timing because there's so many other things that the families are going through where food isn't the focal point. So just trying to get people to see the holistic picture is something that we've come across. We can go on to the next. All right, so with our market right now, there's 63,000 people in North Carolina that live in food deserts. And I'm not going to say fortunately, Durham has a harder or a longer way to go with solving this issue. So about 60,000 people, that number's increased with a lot more people moving back into this area and people are being displaced all around the city are affected by food deserts. And if we aren't familiar with a food desert, it's an area where people don't have consistent access to a healthy food outlet. So if we went over to Knife Street, which is a more prominent and affluent area, the residents can go to Whole Foods and there's like all these healthy restaurants in the area. But if you went over to some areas in the east side of the city, there's nothing. There's literally a block or a couple of blocks where there's nothing but unhealthy food options. So Durham is gentrifying and it's really displacing people all over the city. It's a big mess. I don't think there's been a focus on it because it will reflect a lot of the activities in the city, but it's a big mess with people, just their housing and food availability. But in Orange County, the numbers are significantly different. Only about 1,126 people are affected by food deserts here. So incorporating the students with the academy and with our business approach, there's a large opportunity just in the state for us to really develop a model and help solve this issue. We go on to the next. So the solution, we want to provide healthy foods to people. The academy really, really helps with just incorporating and getting people to pay attention to the issue. Because I genuinely feel like if the students weren't involved, I don't think people would really pay attention to the farm like they have been. And this was actually something that happened because the school system didn't want to work with these students. I actually proposed the academy to the school, to Durham Public Schools, And my principal said no at the time. This was about 3 years ago. And then the head of the Department of CTE was like, maybe you can do this a little bit later. But I was just seeing kids just being filtered through the system. So that really gave me the drive to say, okay, look, even if the farm isn't ready, we're going to have to incorporate these students and do something with them, because you're dealing with people's lives at the end of the day. And I don't really feel like you can say, hey, even though we don't have everything we need, we're still pushing forward, and all the resources haven't been there. We've got some funding, but they haven't been there consistently. But we're dealing with people's lives, and you have to do what you have to do. It's not something you can wait on. And also, this is really starting to help this year. We're starting to build stronger networks with community members. So talking right now is an example of that, because 2 years ago, nobody really paid attention to anything that was going on with the farm, honestly. And we're kind of staying away from the farmers markets. I do participate in them, but a lot of the farmers markets that I see aren't in these areas. I was in one this weekend that actually was in the middle of a food desert, which was pretty cool. But the other markets around Durham don't target the demographic who we're trying to get food to. So I've stayed away from those this year because it takes away from my mission. I did one last year, and it was in an area being gentrified, and nobody that was really affected by the issue really came, and that kind of opened my eyes to say, okay, this issue is a whole lot bigger than what it appears to be. And the last slide for funding. We ran a Kickstarter campaign last year. I was actually getting everyone's emails together so I could send out their rewards, because we got kind of behind on that. But we did receive a lot of funding through Kickstarter. Orange County, we received a small grant from them to do broilers last year. We've gotten funding from Rafi this year, which has really helped. We got a grant to help transition the farm into an agricultural space for teaching more youth, and that's a very, very large task. It's going slow, but I think we'll really be able to get things rolling next year with all the funding and implementing every single thing. We've been able to expand our vegetable operation this year and actually have a product. And once the season transitions, which we're going into now, we'll be able to produce a lot more products. I'm really, really excited about that. And we're really just trying to stay on our mission with getting food to food deserts. And that's where we are now with the students. And some of the students in the academy are going into the second phase, because we have 2 students who've been there for 3 years. So they're going more into the economic development aspect of it, and they'll be learning those skills. And the students that we have that newly have come into the program, they'll be still focused on the agricultural aspect and developing the farm, and then they'll move on when they're ready to the economic aspect of the program.
Rhonda, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal. I was just sharing that you also have a website. If anyone wanted to learn more about Sankofa Farms, you have a website that they can actually go out and see the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Yes, we do. You actually can go to Sankofa Farms LLC.com, and you can see some of the things that we've been working on from the start of the farm until now. And we'll have a lot more updates coming very, very, very soon. Very soon onto the website. And if you would like to be subscribed to our mailing list, we're actually getting ready to start a newsletter this Thursday. You can just subscribe to the website, and I'll add you to our mailing list so you can keep up with the farm without having to visit the website all the time or go out of your way. You'll just receive an email on the 3rd Thursday of every month about updates with the farm and also volunteer opportunities.
And I know that with our trees, we were giving you were talking about bees. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Oh, yes. We actually, when I talked to Rhonda about the trees, I asked could we get flowering trees, because right now we have a small partnership with Bear Crop Science, and right now we have and I like to do this because of ownership with the kids. They have their own beehive, and then I go out and get mine, and they're responsible for learning with mine, and then so they can take care of theirs. So it's kind of it's worked out very well. So with their beehive, we have 5, and we're actually going to be getting 2 more donated this year. They're really strong hives, so you really don't get beehives around this time of the year, but they're really good hives. So that'll bring us up to 7. And we're hoping that when the trees arrive, the bees will pollinate and with the flowering trees, and it'll create a better environment for them. It's really put things into perspective on the farm. We don't use any pesticides. I'm not a big advocate of killing bugs and pests. If they come, we'll do like natural things to try to get rid of them. But I just like to look at it from, if bugs aren't eating your plants, there's something else probably going on with what you're doing. It probably isn't good for the environment. So we'll it affects the bees too. So the bees kind of really keep us in line with being safe on the farm.
Well, thank you again. I want to open it up for questions. I'm going to stop sharing and let folks be able to ask any questions.
Thank you.
Hi, Kamal, this is Rich.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Diana.
Oh, you might have mentioned this, Kamal, and I missed it, but do you take food into a certain location for the people to come get the food?
Yes, that's a great question. We're actually working on that this year. We just got funding this year for a well. So we're going to do a CSA box, and then we're going to use the van to take the goods into the communities.
And
So we'll actually be able to wash the produce on site, process our own animals. I'll be applying for my exemption again, and we'll be doing it on site in Orange County.
okay. And do you charge for the food?
Yeah, the CSA we will charge for that, but we're gonna have to. It'll be on a sliding scale. So I recognize the economic factors in these communities. So we'll try our best, and we're going to get the price down so it'll be affordable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Kamal, this is Rich Jaworski. I have one, what might be considered a silly question, but I'm curious, and then one more serious question. The first one is, you said that you are selling dehydrated chips. Now that could mean one of two things. It could be fruit and vegetable chips to eat, or it could mean like buffalo chips as in fertilizer. So which one is it?
That's a good question. They're fruit chips. So when I have like a story. When I was in Greensboro working on my degree, I was working with the farmer and was selling at the farmer's market. And then we found out that we couldn't sell everything there. So we tried to eat all the food or compost the rest of it. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. So what I started doing was so I was subbing at the time, and I was looking at the kids eat like Takis and Cheetos, and I was like, well, why don't we dehydrate fruit into the chip form and then offer them to people? And it actually did really, really well amongst college students. And actually my students who get samples of it, they love them. So what we actually did, I actually went through NC State to get my license to do pineapple, mango, apple, cinnamon apple, kale, pear, and banana chips.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. And the other one is how prevalent is or expansive is the push to eradicate, at least eliminate, not eliminate, maybe reduce the number of food deserts in the state? You said that we're doing it, but what does that mean? Is there a big push to do it, or is it fairly localized and haphazard?
You want my honest opinion? I think what's going on now, a lot of people who are trying to tackle the issue don't understand the people who it affects. So I think they're trying to get around the fact that groundwork needs to be done, and they actually need to go into the communities and ask the people what they need. So I think it's haphazard right now. And I think a lot of people are generating a lot of publicity and getting a lot of funding for this issue just by namesake, and they actually aren't in the communities with the people. Honestly, out of all the communities I've seen, I've been to around probably every major project in Durham have had a student in the program except for one. And I have not one time seen anyone from these organizations that say we're eradicating food deserts. I haven't seen them one time in any of these communities, or even I've heard of them being there. So there, and it's not just project, it's just the neighborhoods that we go to. None of the, and I teach too, so none of the students come back and say, hey, Mr. Bell, these people came by trying to get us to do A, B, and C. The health department came. That hasn't happened one time.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Yeah. Kamal, it's Kathy. Just a question. How many students are you currently working with? And how long, if someone comes into the academy, how long does it take to go through the different programs that you have?
So the 2 students, well, right now we have 7 students right now. And their range, it fluctuates because I've had to learn I'm dealing with this demographic and anybody can quit, or like I have a student who I have to call every morning for him to be ready for the program. And I can call his mom and she'll say, call him. And then his phone might be off. So it fluctuates just based on the day and based on what parents have. Well, like the students move a lot. So because they're not in stable environments. So we had one student who was who got evicted from his house and they were in the shelter, and but he still came. So like it just depends. So 7 to 8, and there's 2 students who are moving on to the second portion of the program have actually been in the program for 3 years. And one of those students, he hasn't missed a day in actually 3 years. Anytime I reach out to his parents, he's ready to come. So he hasn't missed a day at all. So those 2 will be going on to the second phase of the program.
Wonderful.
Kamal, this is Gene Perry. Can you explain a little bit more about Can you explain a little bit more about the relationship between you and your organization and the schools, as far as recruitment, relationships, or anything like that? Or is there a relationship? I'm not quite sure about that.
Yes, the principal who I had the first year wasn't open to doing anything with the program. I've left that school, and now the school I'm at now, the principal, he allows me to use my classroom and the computers for the classroom portion of the project. I mean, of the academy. Excuse me. The 2 years before that, it's our 3rd year operating. We partner with my home church here in Durham, St. Mark Amy Zion, and they let us use a conference space at the church. Khalil, hold on. They let us use the conference space at the church for the program, but as we've taken in more kids, we need more tools. So that's why we've had to use the school space. But as far as to be honest, I'm actually disappointed with the position that the school system takes with the program. I feel like we're taking kids who are problems in the school environment and putting them on the farm. And one of the students he actually used to get in a lot of trouble, and now he doesn't get in trouble at all anymore. So we're taking that type of student and helping them see value, and it makes the school day go by easier. And they still haven't taken a liking, but I have my reasons being in the system to see why. But at the same time, I would be a little biased because you're dealing with students, and if they want credit for certain things, I think that's pretty selfish. But I think that's the major reason they haven't taken on more responsibility. We even partner with Volunteers for Youth here in Orange County, and they send out students who need community service hours on the weekends. And the juvenile justice, they have counselors here. They've even begun sending students out to the farm to get community service hours. So I don't exactly know why. I have my theory, but it is a little disappointing seeing that we're taking this student and working with them in the school system. It's just like, all right, well, if I don't know if we aren't in the front. If we aren't on the front page of the newspaper, we don't want anything to do about it. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's kind of odd to me.
Yeah, it seems to me that the relationship would almost be natural. I don't, the logistics may take maybe a little hump to get over, as far as attending class and going out to the farm. But a few years ago, before I became a full-time teacher, I did 2 gardens for displaced kids at 2 different elementary schools in association with North Carolina Central University. And it was a big success. I had over 75 kids summer. They loved it, and I was able to incorporate, math and the regular stuff into the lessons. And the kids did their own garden. So, and like my experience was sort of like yours. Many of the kids didn't even know the vegetables. They had no idea.
Yep.
So the idea that you plant these things and you get fresh fruits and vegetables was an eye opener for many, many, many kids. So I applaud what you're doing. I understand the value.
Thank you.
And I don't understand why DPS or any other school system hasn't glommed onto this thing.
I don't know either, and I honestly feel like there's so much opportunity in the field right now, and they're missing out on even doing it at just doing it in elementary, or because every school I've gone to in Durham, I've worked in 3 gardens in Durham public schools, and they've all looked the same when I got there. They're just overgrown weeds, and they look horrible. And it just baffles my mind because there's so many opportunities there that the kids won't get because no one's maintaining the area and really helping develop them in that sense.
That is so true. I must have built about 7 raised gardens, and I go back after the summer because I did it over the summer. And like you said, they're overgrown. No one tended to them.
Yep.
It was embarrassing, especially when you consider the work that we did for those months during the summer.
Yep. And it kind of just takes a toll on you because you're putting all this work, and then you end up having to start at square one every single year.
So, does anyone else have a question? Because I have one if there's no other questions.
I had a question. This is Eve. Thanks, Kamal, for your talk. It's really, really interesting. So I stepped out for a second. I may have missed it, but can you walk us through a normal, just a day in the life of one of the students that you teach and you work with? I'm just curious about that.
I'll walk you through their what? Their background?
No, just a normal school day, where you incorporate your instruction. I'm just curious about the actual structure of how you blend in time at the farm and, training and just how you do what you do. And I may have missed it. I had to step away for a minute, but.
Oh, no, you didn't miss it. So with the academy students from with the program, I get up around 7 o'clock. I spend probably an hour and 15 minutes I pick up all the students, and the program is free for them. And I went ahead on my own, and since I have access to the curriculum for school, it's very, very vague. So I redesigned my own to teach the students. And we'll go to my classroom on either Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'll facilitate lessons. And since Sankofa is a West African term, the lessons will be African-centered. So we'll start out with proverbs during the day. They'll reflect on those. We'll go through something they're thankful for. Then after that, we'll go into more the technical aspect of identifying animals, their anatomy, doing crop schedules, doing things like that. And then from there, we'll go eat. I'll take them home, and the next day we'll implement what we learned that day in the classroom on the farm.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for walking me through that.
No problem.
Kamal, this is Rhonda, and I think it was in 2010 the AmeriCorps program through the the U.S. Department of Agriculture had AmeriCorps come out into North Carolina Central and actually do what you're talking about, not with the academy portion, but more like what Jean is saying, stand up, raise gardens throughout the city. And as you said, they did it throughout the summer. So the students actually got funding. So if you did so many hours, you would get $500 for the summer to go towards your education. And so I can actually try to connect you to some of those things. I don't know if they're still going on. My daughter was in middle school at the time, and they worked with Shepherd Middle School to connect them with North Carolina Central. But what was interesting to me was that some of the programs they worked with were co-ops, so they're community gardens, and some of those people did edible gardens. They actually started training the students kind of in the way you were talking about. And I know my daughter actually started going into gardening because of it, you know, but as you said, the next summer, some of the students came back, they started over again as if they hadn't done it. And I mean, some of that is seasonal anyway, but it's interesting. I think if the school system from the superintendent on down doesn't take it on as an effort, not just an effort or a project, but as a curriculum, I don't think that you will see the support that you need to have unless it's an after-school programming, you know, something that's actually being funded by the school system to continue, as opposed to just being a one-and-done type of project. But that's just
a lot. What I've seen with them when it comes to agriculture is it's one and done,
right?
And it's really disappointing to see, but the kids want to solve issues and want to offer their opinions, but the school has to be behind them in doing that. And there's a big disconnect in that. I can't tell you how many kids ask, "Hey, Mr. Bill, can I come to the farm?" Or "Mr. Bill," because we have chickens at the middle school I'm at now. I went by today to go get something, and kids are just excited to see chickens. So I think that it's just I think we're in a time now where it really needs to be taken advantage of so that a lot of kids' lives can be saved, because the curriculum now, it educates you, but it doesn't educate you into doing something for yourself. Agriculture from the top down, it does that, or from the bottom up, it does that. It teaches you how to do something on your own. So I think there has to be like a shift with the superintendent, and somebody's got to say, hey, like on a higher level, we need to challenge A, B, and C so we can actually produce a student that can do something for themselves. Because a lot of students aren't equipped to do anything after they get a diploma. Even I see it in college too. Students still aren't in a position to do anything for themselves if they can't get a job. And I think that's really unfortunate, and it needs to change.
Well, we'd like to thank you for your time. I'm going to just real quick share this. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for having me.
Screen? I don't know, can you see the screen? So this is a certificate, a virtual certificate that we give you to say thank you for being our guest speaker tonight. We've appreciated what we learned about your program, and hope that maybe we didn't talk about it, but we know that you also may have service projects. So as you get into your season, maybe if there's something that you can see that maybe our club could assist, those of us that are local in the area would love to be able to come out and help you with a service project.
I would love that. Thank you all.
And so we end our call with the 4-way test. And I would like to ask, let's see, Richard, if you could do our 4-way test.
Well, first, let me say thank you very much, Rhonda, for putting that up on the screen. It helps.
Oh, you're lucky.
Sorry, Jean. Sorry,
Of course, I know it. I know it's cool, but it's always nice to see. The 4-way test are the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Excuse me. And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, well, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for coming. Oops, sorry about that. Would like to,
Graffiti?
right, I don't know where that came from, but if anyone has any questions, for any further questions for Kamal, we still have about 8 minutes left, so I'll end the recording now and you can begin to ask your questions.
Thanks, Kamal. It was a very interesting program.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for having me.